Choosing the right camera as a content creator can seem like a really important decision, and that's because it kind of is. I've been making content for years now, and I've gone through many cameras and many setups, and I've learned that finding a camera that fits your budget and your needs as a creator isn't always an easy choice. But today I'm going to show you the camera gear that I am currently using in my own setup, and if you stick around till the end, I will give you my recommendation on the one camera that I would choose for both streaming and making videos. Okay, first things first, let's talk about the camera that I am currently using for live streaming. Oh, and before I forget, I should mention that all of the gear that you see today will be linked down in the description below, so you can go check it out yourself. Anyway, for my stream camera, I am currently using the Sony a5100. The quality in this camera is a huge step up from a webcam, and it's generally one of the cheapest ways to get a good mirrorless camera that is also a good choice for live streaming. Now, this camera is pretty hard to find new these days, but I would recommend buying a used one anyways just to get one of these at a decent price. And then paired with my a5100, I am currently using a Sigma 16mm f1.4 lens. Now, this lens makes it so my setup performs a lot better in low light, and it also gives me that nice blurry background look that a lot of people really want. Now, getting this lens isn't necessary by any means. I even made a whole YouTube video about it, comparing it to the standard kit lens that typically comes with the a5100, but if you want a good way to just step up your quality even further, I really do recommend getting a good lens. Now, I absolutely love my setup for streaming. I think it looks amazing and it's way better than 99% of streamers. But if I had more money than I knew what to do with right now, I would probably go ahead and upgrade to the Sony ZV-E10 and pair that with a Tamron 11 to 20mm f2.8 lens. Now, that setup would be like 2 to 3 times more expensive than my current setup, so unless you just have a bunch of money lying around, just go with a cheaper option. Okay, let's shift gears and talk about the camera setup that I use for filming videos like on YouTube and TikTok. My current main camera is the Sony a7S III, and it's the camera that I am using to film this video right now. Now, I have been using this camera for over a year now, and it has handled absolutely everything I have thrown at it. This thing can film in 4K, 10-bit, 422 at 120 frames per second. It's absolutely insane. It performs super well in low light. That said, I think this camera is completely overkill for about 99% of content creators. Now, if you really want to get a full frame Sony camera, at this point, I would recommend getting the Sony a7 IV. It's about $1,000 cheaper, and it's like 95% as good for video as this current setup. As for the lenses that I've been using, I am currently filming with one that I recently picked up. This is the Sony 20mm f1.8 lens. The reason I got this lens is that it is super light and compact, and it's just wide enough for vlogging, but the quality is absolutely insane. As for my second lens, I have a really cheap mid-range zoom lens. This is the Sony 24-70 f4, and I use this if I just need to actually have a little more reach, but the quality out of this lens isn't anything special. It's really not that great, but I really do appreciate the fact that it's really light and compact, just like my other lens. And that is something that I personally really value as a content creator. Eventually, I'm sure I will upgrade this lens to something nicer, but for now, it's really easy to vlog with. All right, let's move on to the microphones that I use with my cameras. My current main microphone is the Deity D3, and it's the one that I'm currently using, so it's what you're hearing. But this is a relatively compact powered microphone, and given its price of around $60-ish, you really can't beat this price to quality ratio, and I would highly recommend you picking this one up. That said, I do have a few other mics that I like to use given the situation. Now, this is the Deity D4 Duo, and this is my go-to mic for when I'm vlogging. Now, this mic is pretty unique in the fact that it's actually 2 mics in one. So what's great is when this is attached to the top of my camera, it doesn't matter which way I'm pointing my camera, I'm always talking into the mic. Now, this is a non-powered microphone, so you don't need to worry about putting batteries in it, but even so, this microphone still sounds really good. Now, I also have one other microphone that I use sometimes for when I'm vlogging, and this one is one if I'm trying to be a little more discreet and not really get that much attention. This little tiny microphone is the Saramonic XM1. This is a super cheap microphone. It's like $25-ish, something like that. And the sound quality isn't the best, but it is significantly better than the built-in microphones to most cameras, and it is more than good enough. Now, the reason that I choose to use this little microphone sometimes is because that way I don't have to mount one of those bigger microphones to the top of my camera with the wind muffs and the shock mount. And a lot of times when I'm out and about vlogging, it's not even the fact that I'm recording myself that turns heads, It's more the fact that I get asked all the time of, hey, what's that fluffy thing on the top of your camera? It's always the mics that distract people for some reason. So if I want to be discreet, I pop on this little thing and I never get asked anything. Now, the main downside to this little microphone is the fact that the built-in shock mount isn't very good. So having this thing plugged into the side of the camera, it will pick up any sort of handling noise. So if you move your hand or switch hands while you're recording, it will definitely make a lot of noise in your recording. So if you really need to film something that is crucial and important, I probably wouldn't recommend using this one. All right, that is it for all of my regular camera gear. But I am lucky enough to live with my girlfriend, who is also a content creator, and she happens to have the #1 camera that I would recommend that most content creators get for recording videos and live streaming. If I could only have one camera and I didn't want to spend thousands of dollars, or if I was a beginner with cameras in general, I would highly recommend getting the Sony ZV-1. This camera is more than good enough for making videos, streaming, vlogging, taking pictures, literally anything you need to do as a content creator. This thing does it really well. And the best part is this thing is only around like $700. Compare that to this setup that I'm currently filming with, which is around like $4,500. And this thing starts to make a lot of sense. And honestly, someone who is experienced with cameras, I would say the quality out of this thing is almost as good as what you can get out of these bigger cameras for a fraction of the cost. And to make this thing even better, it has a good built-in microphone, which most cameras do not have those, but this thing is actually perfect for vlogging. You do not need to use an external mic if you don't want to. Now, that said, if you did want to step up your audio game, you can plug in external mics into this camera if you really do want to go that route. But ultimately, at the end of the day, what makes this thing truly so special is not only the quality and the price, but the fact that you can fit this thing in your pocket. Now, I know a lot of people don't really care about the size of their camera initially because they just want to make the best quality of videos as possible, but having a camera that you can easily bring with you will make your content better because you're more likely to want to go out and film things. I swear it makes a huge difference. Now, that said, as much as I've been hyping this thing up, this thing is not perfect. The built-in lens is a 24-70, which is good in most situations, but it's a little tight for vlogging, but there is a fix for that. This is a wide angle lens accessory that you can buy for your Sony ZV-1, and it just screws right on. And just like that, you now have a lens that is more than wide enough for vlogging. Seriously though, this camera is absolutely amazing, and I'm kind of jealous, to be honest, that I don't have one of these myself. Again, I'll have all that gear linked down in the description below, and be sure to leave a comment of what gear you currently have and what gear you're wanting to upgrade to. I'm just kind of curious where you guys are all at in your own journey of content creation. And also, if you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, and with that, I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.